7 types of fathers in Oklahoma family law. I'm Tulsa attorney James Worth, and I was just thinking about different types of fathers while I was looking at a statute related to some changes on how we treat fathers who have a child when they're not married and what kind of rights they have. And I was thinking, there's a number of different things that we do. I wonder if people understand what that is, and that's kind of what this video comes from. So 7 different types of fathers in Oklahoma family law. So I want to go over 3 first. And those 3 are adjudicated father, presumed father, and acknowledged father. So if you've got a child that's born outside of a marriage, and ultimately you've got to get parentage adjudicated, then that means that you file a petition to establish, paternity, could also be custody, visitation, child support. You file it in the court. The court makes a determination that you are the father, and from that point forward, you're an adjudicated father. So that's an adjudicated father. The next one is a presumed father. This is the most common circumstance that we probably see. If a child is born into a marriage, then that's going to be the husband is the presumed father under Oklahoma law. But there's a couple other different ways that you could get to be a presumed father as well. Main one, obviously, is if you're married at the time that the child is born. Another one is if you are married but then divorce before the child is born, but the child is born within 300 days of that marriage ending, whether it's marriage ended by death, annulment, or by divorce. And then if you are married but that marriage is determined to be invalid, that doesn't change anything. Still presumed father by this next subsection. Then if the child is born and then the parties get married, but they did acknowledge the child at the time of birth through an acknowledgement, and that's recorded with DHS essentially, then that's going to be a presumed father as well. And lastly, if for the first 2 years of the child's life, he resided in the same household with the child and openly held the child out as his own, that makes him a presumed father under the law. So under all of these circumstances, you're a presumed father, which means that you've got the rights that come along with it pretty much automatically, but a paternity action can be filed. DNA evidence can be requested if it's done timely for the right reasons, with the right evidence, and then that presumption can be rebutted if you're not the biological father and the timing is correct on that. And under some circumstances, you need a best interest determination on that as well. But that is the presumed father. So we've talked about adjudicated and presumed. The next one is acknowledged father. So if you are not married to the mother, the child is born, and you've got paperwork normally handled at the hospital. It's an acknowledgement of paternity. It has to be signed by mom and dad. If both of you sign that, then you are an acknowledged father, and that is the document that gets you put on the birth certificate. That is different than a presumed father, though. So that's the acknowledged father. It can also be rebutted. It also does provide under recent law, provides that if you are an acknowledged father, that you should be treated the same as if you were married to the mom and are a presumed father. How that goes in practice sometimes can be a little bit different, and it is a new law that hasn't been interpreted to that much, so we don't know exactly how it's going to go. So those are 3 areas, but I talked about 7 different types of fathers. The other ones are putative, biological, legal, and adopted. Okay, so obviously adopted, everybody understands if you go through adoption proceedings and you then are adjudicated the adopted parent, then birth certificates will be updated. You're on there as an adopted parent. You've got all the same rights and responsibilities as if you were a father by other means. So that one's pretty clear. Then we got putative father. So if you do not know who the father is, or you're asserting to be the father, but it hasn't been established by any of these other means, at that point, you're just a putative father, and time will tell as things go on. It goes through the process, whether that's by an agreement where they agree that you're the parent, the father, or DNA testing or whatever, these things are determined. And then there's biological father versus legal father. Sometimes these get a little bit strange, but you can be the biological father and have no rights to the child whatsoever. And you can be the legal father and not be the biological father, and that can be done through adoption, but it can be done through other means as well. So if you are married to a woman and a woman has a child with somebody else, you are the presumed father, and after a certain period of time, may be impossible to rebut that presumption. At that point, you are the legal father, even though you're not the biological father. On the other side of that, somewhere out there is the actual biological father who is not the legal father. So those are our 7 types of dads under Oklahoma law. We've got the adjudicated father, the presumed father, the acknowledged father, the putative father, the biological father, the legal father, and the adopted father. If you've got any questions about that, you're going through a proceeding related to paternity or other family law issues, you're going to want to talk to an attorney privately and confidentially. To get that scheduled with an attorney at my office, you can go online to makelawEasy.com.